What's up guys, Eric here from Techisode TV, and today we've got the 512GB version of the iPhone 12 Pro Max against the 512GB version of the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. This is the fastest phone that Apple has to offer against the fastest phone that Samsung has to offer. And we're going to see which one is the fastest in this multi-part speed test. As always, I will have video time codes down in the description so you guys can quickly skip around to different parts of the test. And if you guys appreciate video time codes, let me know by dropping a like down below. Let's go ahead and start with the speed test. First things first, we need to make sure there are no apps open in the background, and there aren't, so we're good to go. Let's start with the native internet browsers. Right off the bat, we get a close call. While the iPhone shows the emails first, you can't actually open anything until the app fills the screen. Because of that, the Note 20 has time to catch up, and if you watch closely, you'll see that the iPhone finishes expanding the page at the exact same time as the Note 20 finishes loading the unread email counter. Because of that, neither phone gets a point. So as you guys can tell by now, there's a counter at the top which keeps track of how many apps each phone opens faster. I'll be watching the replay frame by frame to make sure this is as accurate of a test as possible. If the phones open apps within about 1/8 of a second to each other, then neither phone will get a point because that could just be the time difference between me pressing on one screen versus the other. And I know that fair tests are extremely important to you guys, so if you check the description, you'll see a full list of everything I did to make this as fair of a test as possible. And I highly recommend that you guys check that list out because I did a lot of different things. The Harmony app was another close call. While the Note 20 Ultra showed the icons first, they didn't finish moving to the top of the page until the exact moment that the iPhone finished loading its page, so neither phone gets a point here either. Now it's time for the RAM test. We're just going to go backwards through the apps to see how many apps are still open. There's a tally at the top again to keep track of how many reloads each phone has, and obviously the less reloads, the better. It looks like the Zillow app does refresh the results on the Note 20 Ultra, but it's not a full reload, so I'm not going to count it. But let me know in the comments below if you think refreshes should or shouldn't count in these tests. We'll talk about the results of the first two tests in a minute, but first, I want to talk about how these perform within applications for day-to-day use. In terms of gaming, I tried Asphalt 9 at max graphics settings and 60 frames per second and couldn't tell a difference between the two phones in terms of frame rate or detail in the graphics. I then tried PUBG with the graphics set to Ultra HD and the frame rate set to Extreme, the highest settings available on both phones. Both phones didn't skip a single frame and the graphic detail was excellent on both. However, when comparing them side by side, the Note 20 offers a more vibrant image and feels more immersive because of how much smaller the bezels are. And speaking of bezels, the notch on the iPhone was surprisingly not distracting because of how you hold the phone. However, if you use a game controller, the notch would likely be a little bit annoying at first. A notable improvement in the iPhone 12 Pro Max compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the thermal performance. The iPhone 11 Pro Max would get notably hotter than the Note 20 Ultra when playing games, but the iPhone 12 Pro Max heats up almost exactly the same as the Note 20 Ultra. And in case you're wondering, I tried the Note 20 Ultra in the max allowable resolution of 2316 by 1080 in the 120Hz mode, and at the phone's max resolution of 3088 by 1440 in 60Hz mode, and the phone performed identically in both scenarios. Video editing is a completely different story. I tried exporting the exact same 4K 30 frame per second video with the exact same color effect applied on both devices using Adobe Premiere Rush, and well, the iPhone 12 Pro Max completely decimated the Note 20 Ultra. Like, it's literally more than twice as fast as a Note 20 Ultra when rendering videos. Just to make sure it was a fair test, the 4K footage came straight from my Panasonic GH5S, but I also ran the test with native footage from both devices in 4K 60, 4K 30, and even 1080p at 30 frames per second, and the results were exactly the same in every scenario. The iPhone was more than twice as fast at rendering video. So if you do a lot of video editing on your phone, you may want to go with the iPhone instead. So when we look at the results as a whole, we've learned that these phones are incredibly closely matched in terms of how fast they can open apps and how good they are at keeping those apps open in RAM. So if app opening speed is your biggest concern, you can't go wrong with either of these devices. Gaming is a similar story. Both phones perform almost identically, but if you prefer more vibrant colors, smaller bezels, and a hole punch instead of a notch, then you may want to go with the Note 20 Ultra. And if video editing is your jam, then there's literally no contest. The iPhone's going to be the better choice for video editing and exporting by a very large margin. And lastly, if you're just going to use your phone for social media, maybe some light gaming and other generic tasks, then pick whichever phone has the operating system that you prefer. If you guys found this video helpful and want to help me out, go ahead and hit the like button to help me beat the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys don't want to miss the rest of my iPhone 12 coverage, or you want to see Samsung's best kept secret on their flagship devices, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you can be notified right when those videos are uploaded. That's it for this tech episode. God bless guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.